What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tech 5, the best internet tech show on the internet. It's your boy, James Green. And if you don't know what SoundCloud is, get ready to know what it is. SoundCloud is like the YouTube version, but for music. It's a service that lets anybody from Drake, Rihanna, to the bedroom drummer stringing along on his guitar to upload their creativity on the website. Unlike any other of those services, it's also on the brink of death. So according to Digital Trends, last week financial data from privately owned SoundCloud painted a clear portrait of a company in which is hemorrhaging money. But despite raising $77 million in the investments in 2015 and boosting a growing monthly user base of over 175 million people, the company claims further financial infusions will be required this year in order to maintain its solvency. So if in order for it to keep going in 2016 and in 2017, they're going to need more money. They're eventually going to have to get more money. It continues in 2014. SoundCloud spent $64 million to generate just shy of $20 million in revenue. And the company reported combined losses of $70 million between 2013 and 2014. As concerns over the financial viability of the massive music streaming service wave in the wind, one big question remains in the minds of fans and artists alike. What happens if SoundCloud goes under? So what will happen? Here's two things what will happen if SoundCloud goes under. One is bankruptcy, and the other is acquisition. I got you the details right here. So first we're going to start with bankruptcy. So SoundCloud's disappearance would create a powerful vacuum effect across the world of recorded music. The most immediate consequence would be the loss of a massive chunk of the world's independent music available online. And since its inception back in 2007, when the company first took on MySpace as a platform for user uploaded music content, SoundCloud has grown into one of the internet's biggest purveyors of music democracy. It's a playing field where musicians, big and small, can create accounts and instantly share their music projects with millions of global listeners for free. So this was very big deal for anyone that's trying to make it into the music industry, put their music and their creativity out there into the world. And thanks to SoundCloud, they were able to do that, to get their name out there, to get their art out there. And it was a very important software, very important service, really, for these up-and-coming musicians. So it is very important. So without this, a lot of independent musicians could go extinct. So SoundCloud has filled this void that no other streaming service can account for, a fact that becomes most evident when we take a look at the platform's massive digital library. It holds approximately 110 million audio tracks, which is 4 times the 30 million or so songs available on popular streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music. So this is a very big deal for the music industry. Everyone needs to be paying attention. They hold the most tracks than any other streaming music service. So you get a bunch of music that's not really available for Apple or Spotify. So that's why a lot of people rely on SoundCloud, because that's where they have the most music on the internet. That's where you can go get it. So though the loss of an on-demand juggernaut like Spotify wouldn't have a massive consequence for streaming users around the world, in some ways the loss of SoundCloud would be even more devastating. After all, Spotify users would still have the likes of, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon Music. They will still have. So users like me are going to be okay. We're going to find another service to go to listen to music. But for SoundCloud, on the other hand, it has carved itself into a unique niche in the 21st century for music. It's a cultural launchpad that helps artists get their music off the ground into the ears of the millions of you listeners out there that enjoy listening to their art. So it's in a very special place where it's both for the users and also for the content creators, the music creators out there. So this is why it's so important. So if they file bankruptcy and they disappear, where everyone from the creators to the listeners will be affected greatly by this. So this is really important. So I'll leave the full article in the link description down below so you can guys read the full article in its entirety. I'm just trying to do my best to give you a little bit of snippets here and there. Now we're moving on to the number 2, which is acquisition. So SoundCloud has fielded offers from various tech companies over the years, with Twitter at one point considering purchasing SoundCloud for $2 billion. So this deal, it never happened, but it does give us some idea of SoundCloud's place in the market. So it gives us an idea. So at some point, the owners of SoundCloud could sell the company off to somebody else. Which, if I was in that position and I'm running low on cash, I would probably look to that option and just call it a day. But major labels have already taken small stakes into SoundCloud as part of underlying copyright licensing deals with that company, inked in an attempt to reach a broader, more lucrative user base. That said, labels likely invested in the company in hopes of profiting off a future buyout rather than to buy it themselves. So there's a possibility that the sale of SoundCloud could look something akin to what happened to Beats Music when Apple purchased Beats Electronics last year for $3 billion. So it looked like something like this. So Apple folded the service's assets and overall architecture into iTunes, and the labels that had a stake in the company cashed out at the time of the sale. So Universal Music sold its shares in Beats for approximately $4 million. So that's what essentially is going on with the labels that bought a stake in SoundCloud. So if the SoundCloud does eventually decide to sell, they can sell their shares in there and make money instead of buying the whole company themselves. So, but is there really hope for the company to stay independent and also get some more money into the process? A lot of these companies out there are spend unsubstantial amount of money to facilitate growth in their infancy. So Facebook, for example, didn't turn a profit till 5 years after it was founded, when the company had reached a massive 300 million users. So as such, further cash infusions are certainly not out of the question for SoundCloud investors. So it was around for like a good almost a decade, and it's been around 9 years since its inception. So it might take maybe this year or maybe next year till it can finally get a profit. Who knows? We have to look and see what happens with that. And though the company can likely never expect to build the multi-billion-dollar empire that Facebook did, there may be untapped ways to monetize this healthy user base in a more effective manner. Well, for an example, the company recently inked deals with major labels for distribution, and it's expected to launch a paid model. So there's one way they can find a way out of this to make some type of money while still keeping the service free. So that's what I think should happen. Is they should figure out a way to keep the core model free for artists to put their tracks on the internet and for us to listen for free, while find some other way to get money, probably through advertisers or through through labels that took a stake in the company. So they need to find something like that. I mean, the articles are really long here, so I'm gonna put a link in the description box down below to let you guys read it in entirety, because this is not only affecting us, it affects everybody, and it even affects the independent artists out there. But I want to hear what you guys thinking about it. Leave it in the comments right down below. Let me know what you guys think, and also subscribe to see more videos up in the upcoming days and weeks to come. And I'll see you guys on Monday.